Don't mess with Texas, ladies and gentlemen. No way. You know what? They're not going to have it because they are coming out with their brand new stock exchange to rival the NYSE and to rival the NASDAQ. This is fantastic. So it's a TXSE, get it? Texas Stock Exchange. It's raised about $120 million right now, and it's going out after the space that the NYSE and the NASDAQ has occupied, because the thinking is, you know what, you can't just cancel everyone. Otherwise you're going to wind up in some kind of economic civil war. That's what it feels like when you've got a certain set of requirements for public companies that, everybody be various different shades and have various different preferences, etc. It starts to get a little exhausting. And then the ESG stuff on top of it all. Now, they haven't actually gotten to the point where the board is literally required to do this, that, and the other, although in California it is that way. But this is what they're embracing there for requirements on the NYSE and the NASDAQ. And you've got to have access to capital markets for everybody else in America that can't reach or doesn't want to reach these really onerous requirements. Right? If you can't fulfill these, you can't go public on the NASDAQ. Well, Texas is like, forget about it. You know what? There's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity for us to capture all the other. Why let it all go to private equity after all? And the funniest thing about this is that the very companies, or at least one of them, the biggest company that put all its effort into this ESG DEI stuff, BlackRock, guess what? They're back in this thing. Why? Because Larry Fink, the guy who started it all, who I've talked to many times over the years, I mean, he really believed this. He thought he was doing good for capitalism with the ESG. And all of a sudden he wakes up one day and he's like, whoa, like this has gotten a little out of control. And it has. It has. It's gotten completely spiraled out of control. I mean, to the point where now they want to cancel Ticketmaster because Ticketmaster dares to sell a few tickets to Tucker's performances. Come on. It's gone too far. And so because it's gone too far, there are new opportunities thanks to our capitalist culture, right? We are capitalists at our heart. So of course, Texas is looking at this and seeing dollar signs and opportunities. And of course, Larry Fink, extraordinary billionaire that he is, who's created a powerhouse of an asset management business, is saying, okay, this is a good opportunity for every other company out there. And so I look at this and say, my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the brink of some kind of economic civil war. Do you go public on the TXSE or the NYSE? I think I know which one I choose. How about you? Let me know in the comments here. I'm looking at the live conversation. Let me know in the chat. It's good to see so many regulars here, back here with us. Welcome to anybody new. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you share. All that good stuff. My colleague over at 76 Research, my co-founder there, Rob Horton, brilliant investor, by the way, just absolutely brilliant, great stock picker. He and I were talking about this recently on the 76 channel. By the way, we're on YouTube, so you're welcome to go over to the 76 channel at 76 Research on YouTube and watch the entire discussion. We had a live show just the other day. We just started the channel, so it's growing and growing and growing. I mean, this one's growing and growing too. We're up to 300,000. Look at this. I mean, incredible, right? What you guys have been able to help me accomplish here. And so I think this is a little bit of a way for me to help give back, because it's just tremendous insight for you into the markets at 76 Research, or go to 76research.com. If nothing else, sign up for the free stuff. I do think you should get the 76 report, of which we got a new one out today. All good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. But let me share with you a clip. Rob and I were talking about this economic civil war. It's a big deal. Here's his view on it. I think we both kind of get the irony of the fact that you have BlackRock, along with, by the way, Ken Griffin, who runs Citadel, really, really powerful, again, company that's putting money into this because everybody's recognizing this opportunity. It's an opportunity for half the country. Here we go.
And make it easier to list. They're not going to have these kind of type of NASDAQ board diversity requirements that require, that sort of dictate to companies what the skin color or preferences of particular board members need to be to qualify for listing. That's not totally in effect yet, but that's being put into effect. But that also kind of signals to these companies like, you're going to have to comply with all kinds of DEI and ESG parameters if you want to be on our exchange. And then I think these guys are saying, hey, actually, we'll make it a lot easier for you to be on our
It's kind of
exchange.
fascinating though that BlackRock is one of the backers. I mean, given BlackRock's history and push for ESG initially, I know that Larry Fink has come out and said, hey, maybe I was a little off on it. He's actually done kind of a mea culpa and said it's kind of gotten too far and out of control. And then it's just sort of like boomerang. Wow. Okay. So now we're going to go down to Texas and you're not going to have those same rules and requirements. Look, I mean, you think about, you just think about all the companies that need to be able to access capital markets, and because they may be more aligned with sort of a different viewpoint on the world, can't access them. And it's wild to me. I was talking to a friend recently who had a really interesting theory on this, almost saying that what you risk in America is having almost two economies, right? You can have your woke economy for the left and your conservative economy for those on the right. And ultimately, if the woke people are going to cancel out everybody that's a conservative, well, then the conservatives are going to wind up doing their own darn thing. And they're going to create their own economy and their own systems and their own mechanisms by which to access capital markets. And then lo and behold, we look and we see that the Texas exchange is starting up. So I find it rather fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of suggest that we're sort of having like an economic civil war or some kind of separation, right? Where you have these two different kind of economic spheres, and I guess people can freely choose between them. But what I think is motivating BlackRock is the fact that, or what I suspect is the fact that the number of public companies in the U.S. has really actually declined dramatically over the last several decades, cut in half, because it is so onerous to be a public company. This sort of started with like Sarbanes-Oxley, and now it's with ESG and these listing requirements, right? It's very painful in some ways if you're a small company, a startup, to kind of have to comply with all these headaches and all these.
Yeah, Rob is absolutely positively right. It is a huge headache, right? So nobody wants to have to deal with these bureaucratic layers. And so BlackRock is realizing they need this pipeline, right? They need this access to an easier system. Let's get rid of some of the red tape. And so lo and behold, leave it to Texas, ladies and gentlemen.